How we doing, everybody? A wee change. Dak meets Nicky Low. I've got Nicky Low in the day. Wee special episode. A baller. Some guy. He's a fan of the west of Scotland as well. So we're going to we've got no PG. He's took all the sponsorship money and fucked off to took a family to New York, man. So we're sitting here. It's me, myself. No preparation whatsoever. But we're just going to have a good, relaxed chat about football. Nicky boy, cheers for coming in, my man.
Cheers for having me, man. Looking forward to it.
It is, mate. Here, me and Nicky have just been talking for about an hour outside there because PG mucked up the times for the studio, man. So we've literally got nothing else to talk about. And that's the way it is. But Paul sorted us out. So Nicky, we'll just take it back to the start. You came through the ranks at Aberdeen. When at Aberdeen you came through the ranks. What was that like, mate? Because I take it you would have had to move away from home at an early age.
That was brilliant. Obviously, I got picked up. I think I was about 8 years old from somebody called John Ward, who's well known in Inverclyde. He was the main scout down there, and with the Glasgow Academy, and he was kind of the main man up there. So he picked me up for my boys' club. It was East End at the time. So I was about 8, and I moved away when I was about 15. And that was a shock going to Aberdeen, where it's all kind of in a changing room of posh boys and that, and I'm a Greenock boy, so it's a bit of madness back home. But obviously growing up there, that's the best thing for me. My mum was delighted I moved away, you know what I mean? She's like, at least I was thinking of getting to jail.
Get you away for all the trips in it. So what was it? So you were there that full time then? And it was and you went up there full time. How did it work with living arrangements? There's maybe some people out there that don't kind of realise what environment you go into. So did you left at 15, did they put you up in digs and stuff like that?
Went up to digs, with the families, and it was really good. But I've still kept in contact with mine now. It's Irene Mare and stuff, her daughter Louise, and Louise had a few kids of her own, so they had a big house on Union Grove. I think it was 180 actually, just after town centre. For me, obviously being a young boy, it was handy because I didn't drive her at. But they looked after me brilliant. To be fair, the first few months I struggled being away from all my mates and that. Not even my family, my mates, because I was out every night with all the boys, and I struggled big time. I was homesick. Aberdeen, I went and spoke to them. They're like, just hang in a few months, then hopefully you'll come round and you'll gradually like the place. End up loving it, know what I mean? And obviously, it's a big part of my life. I didn't leave it until I was about 20 odds before I signed with Dundee, but I loved it up there. Some good nights out, I know.
It's a fair amount of time that you've spent at Aberdeen. What about, was there other players that stayed in the digs with you, or was it just yourself that was in there?
When I first moved up, it was Pates. Michael Payton was there. Then obviously he's a bit older, so he ended up moving and get his own flat. Then who else came in? Stephen O'Donnell ended up with me, big sods. Then Callum McRobbie, who played West Scotland junior teams, and Dean Jarvis, an Irish lad. So there was 3 or 4 days in at times, which is a bit madness.
I was going to say, is there a few mad tales that you've got up to, mate? Because or was the family strict on you or that, or were you just doing your own thing basically?
At times they kind of be strict. To be fair, she kept it in check, but there was sometimes if they weren't there and that, it was a wee bit madness in the house. You obviously imagine what it's like 4 young lads on a bevy out and back to the flat afterwards. So there's a few stories there.
No taking birds back to the gaff, was it?
I hope my missus is still watching. I'm going to tell a few stories here.
Get them to help me, you know what I mean? We've all had our youth, mate. We've all had our days, haven't we?
No, but honestly, that's what it's like. There's a birds back in it, and think to yourself, man, I've got training in an hour. Like, man, get a shower in the head of training, man. Like a bag of washing.
Telling everybody you played for Aberdeen up with Town Centre.
Oh, definitely.
Brilliant. What was the sort of stuff then you had today? Because I know a lot of people speak and say the old school's not quite there anymore. So I take it even in there's like a YTS and had to do your jobs and stuff. So what was that? What was that all about? What was that like?
It was tough at the start. I wasn't used to it. Obviously, you're never hanging anything. But my first job, it was mine. I was cleaning boots and I was cleaning the bins. So at the end of the day, when all the first team boys were away, I would go and clean the first team changing room, our changing room. There was a bin in the boot room, so I would just change away and put new ones in. That was alright. Obviously, you clean all your boots. I think I was on 2 or 3 pairs. Big Charlie Mulgrew and all that. Big Charlie was brilliant because obviously you get money. Some people don't make you do nothing. Some people say if you want a bit extra. So I remember I was only about, I think 15, 16. So in the gym, there's pull-up bar. Big Charlie's like, man, get in the scud and that and get the pull-ups done. But obviously, it just made me get my sloggies. Obviously, you were a sloggy. So I was a wee skinny guy at the time. Never been in a gym in my life. I was in there, man, about 20 odd pull-ups. He gave me a £10 pull-up, to be fair. So I ended up with a £200. I was like, yeah, dancer. Didn't agree with all the boys. Care goes on me this weekend, boys.
Oh, wow, man, so fair. That probably helps settle you in and get a relationship with the senior boys doing things like that. What other boys did you kind of Did you hit it off with some other senior players? I take it the banter would have been good with the likes of Charlie Mulgrew and stuff like that kicking about the dressing room.
It was brilliant. It was Mark Kerno. Kerno was a great guy because some people kind of first team players didn't bother with young boys, whereas other boys like Big Lee Muller, one of the best I've met in the game, used to take all the boys and play two touch, game of flicks and that in the changing room. You always remember, used to go in, some boys would been bare feet, because obviously training you just want about your flip flops and your socks on, and you try and go in and get a game of two touch. Big Lee's like that. Protect your tools, get your shoes on and get in here and get a game of two touch. So that made you feel comfortable about the boys when they were inviting you into the changing room and stuff. Then other times there was also like Big Xander Diamond, who else, Big Lee Miller's other, was it after that? We used to fight with each other, so they would come into our changing room, lights would go, and also we'd just knock bins at it through each other, know what I mean? People come out with black eyes, bust nose into the physical room, like, what happened? Like, we're on a bit with first team boys here, know what I mean? So it was good.
Super, mate. That's the thing, man. You don't hear that enough. And by the way, Lee Miller, a magician with haircuts, so he is, man. Look what he's done for me. Do you know what I mean?
I'll get nothing else. You know what I mean? Lee, what can you do, big man, if you're watching?
Brilliant with the young lads, when the young YTSs back in the day, but an absolute magician when it comes to sticking an Irish jiggle in his foul down. You know what I mean? So fair play. So what about your debut then, Nicky? What was your debut? I take it it's something that you'll never forget. What about your debut and how did that go?
I was away at Hearts, so it's one I'll never forget because I was getting absolute pelters, obviously. If you're playing at Hearts, everybody knows the atmosphere is one of the best in Scotland. So I was actually, we were away as a youth team in Malaga for 2 weeks before it, and I done really well. I remember saying to myself, I was flying there, so I came back and I thought, hopefully I'll be doing a bit of first team, because you know yourself if you're doing well. And actually I came back in and the board was up and it was a squad list for going to the Time Castle. And I was on it. I was thinking, there was one left out. I was thinking that'll probably be me, but at least it's good experience to go and get in amongst the boys and travel down and see what it's like. But we were winning, I was ending up on the bench, so I was buzzing. We ended up 3-0 up, so I was thinking to myself, surely Mark McGee's going to put us on here. Ended up getting about the last 5 minutes, but I remember, was it me and Des Young were warming up, so run down by Hearts. Remember, you get big sub jackets and that, keep yourself warm, so I didn't take mine off, it was freezing. Charging down, I'll never forget it. It was a big baldy guy, about 6 foot, built like a shit house. He had the army gear on, standing up off his seat, pointing. Like, yeah, fucking me dick and all that. I was like, whoa. He's like, get a jacket, it fits you. I was like, shut up. Just as I was jogging by.
Again, not boying you with a commute. I'm sure you didn't keep your mouth shut.
I was like, shut up. That was the last thing I wish I did. Big man's trying to jump over chairs and that to get me. I was shiting myself. I was sprinting to the touchline like, man, get me on away from him.
I just imagine you. I think it was like the Arsene Wenger style ones, the 3/4 ones.
That's exactly what it was like. But all of a sudden I went down there and that. I was warming up, staying stretching that. I kept looking to see. Hopefully he sat back down. So the time I run back up there.
Couldn't see him because he's camouflaged through.
Honestly, it was just a big bald teeth. But no, it was good. Obviously, when I came on, experience was brilliant. Obviously, that was the first time I ever got a win bonus. I think we got 600 quid. I couldn't believe it.
And how long did you play in the game?
Only played 5. I think came on about 85 minutes roughly. Just stoppage time. But even that, I think I got 1 or 2 touches of the ball. It was amazing. I remember Michael Stewart, obviously a pundit now. I'm sure he was the captain of the team. I'm sure it was Michael Stewart. And the ball was in the corner and we're wasting time. And he's like, man, I'm going to smash you next time you get it. But just to, you know what I mean? I was like, man, looking over my shoulder every time I get a ball. Whereas he
just shifting it.
Obviously, when you play, Scott Brown not up to the same. But obviously, after the game, shake hands, it's a game of football.
So, what, did you kick on for there then and just get more appearances under your belt and stuff?
Got a couple. Not as much as I'd like because in training, I thought I'd done really well. I think every club I've been at, I hope managers would say I'm always trained well. So, I thought I'd maybe get more appearances. I'm a bit frustrated, actually, to be honest. Then end up going on loan with Dick Campbell to Forfar. And I end up a change of managers now. Mark McGee gets sacked, Craig Brown came in, few appearances off the bench, but after doing really well at Forfar, I thought again, right, here's my chance, I'll get more appearances. But my whole time at Aberdeen was just on the bench really and coming off, know what I mean? Which was frustration for me because I thought I should have played more.
What was Mark McGee like? Because he got slaughtered a wee bit, didn't he, when he was at Dundee? He was coming out with some mad comments and all that, do you know what I mean? And I think he was taking that a wee bit tight, especially on social media. So what was he like to actually play for?
I was a young boy, so I was just kind of training now and then with him, and I was not always training every day with him, but it's a bit of a strange guy probably. Didn't really associate with him. Most managers that I've played under, everyone has kind of been into youth team, spoke to him or speak to you on general basis, but he'd walk by you and stuff. But that's maybe because he's under pressure at Aberdeen there, didn't do well up there. So you imagine Aberdeen's a massive club. I don't think my granddad always said to me, Nick, it's a massive club, you're going to expect big expectations. I didn't realise until I went up there it was fucking massive fan base. Then they didn't start well, so their fans were on him, and I mean on him big time. So I think pressure maybe got to him. Then round about, I remember at Aberdeen there's hundreds of people upstairs, and they didn't go on with a manager and that, so it was kind of Place was poison at the time, to be honest. It wasn't nice to be about as a young boy.
Was he intimidating bit at times in the dressing room and all that? Because he comes across as if he could probably lose the plot a wee bit in the dressing room. So you see him any mad moments, any hairdryer moments for you anyway, or the boys?
Not for me, but I've seen a few boys getting this thinking, saying, are you playing to get me fucking sacks in?
Maybe match out a few times.
Aye, but I remember he shouted at me once. It was in training. I went up. We were doing a passing drill. I'd like to think my passing is usually really good. But somebody bobbled one into me, and I thought, instead of taking a touch, I was confident, I'll just wrap this in, shanked it. I've got you up here because you're good at passing. What the fuck is that? And I was only a youngster still. I was like, I'll take a touch next time and go safe.
And am I right in saying, Nicky, that when you were at Aberdeen, you played in the cup final and you came on, you scored in the penalty shootout? You won that, didn't you?
Aye, that was obviously that's the best experience for my career so far, because obviously 50,000 I think it was at Aberdeen fans, and it was also Celtic Park because Hampden was getting used for Commonwealth games, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And Verness had like 10,000, so that experience was amazing. As a young boy, you came on and hit a penalty in front of that.
You're a Celtic man, aren't you?
I'm a Celtic man, aye. So it's better for me, you know what I mean? I can also have lifted a trophy at Celtic Park.
And how were you? How was the old jitters, man, when you had that penalty? I could only imagine, because listen, you're good when the deed balls and the set plays and stuff, and you do hit penalties and stuff like that. But how did that feel?
I've always hit pens, free kicks, everything, but I tell you, man, when you're hitting in front of 60,000 people, Aberdeen didn't win a trophy in about 19, 20 years it was at the time. So if you can, nervous. You see my celebration, I think I go like wee T-Rex, I was going mental, and someone once you watch it back, I'm like, what was I doing? But obviously Aberdeen fans still tag me in it and say like the passion, they loved it and all that, but what a few days we had after that.
What age were you?
Must have been early 20s, was that 2014 or something, was it? Early 20s I must have been in, so.
Good set of balls to have to go and hit a penalty and all in a cup final. What was I was going to say there, what was the celebrations like, man? I take it was a bit hectic. Able to share it with the troops on the aftermath of it, or did you go away? I know sometimes
we didn't go away because it's still during the season. Was it when was it? February or something? I can't remember. March was it? But you couldn't go away. But what a night we had. Obviously drove back up to Aberdeen, but Barry Robson got fined that day because he was late for the team meeting before the game. So obviously it's a hefty fine that. So McInnes is like, no, but if we win it, you buy all the cargo. So we stopped at a Tesco's. Oh, boys, but I was just walking about my trolley, and the boys just like, fucking hangs in. Honestly, didn't even want hangs, not I mean, he's paying, throw it in there.
Bottles of Moe and all that.
It was the dearest of hangs, man, honestly. So that was the cargo on the bus, obviously brilliant. And the gaff heads up, everyone had to go up and sing a song and all that. Can't even remember getting off the bus at Aberdeen, but I remember all the boys. Well, I can't remember, I didn't see it. Doc, the assistant manager, sorry, Doc, but we're the gaffer's like, right, Sky cameras not out here. All families in the hotel waiting on us. So we're getting off the bus. He's like, need to make a cunt of ourselves. So Doc's fucking the last assistant manager's last half the bus. Bang, 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 right down all the stairs. Did he? First dive, man. Like, I had to be one if one of the coaches. So we went up to the hotel, then fucking we seen all our families and that, and a few boys I think stayed with our families, and the rest went into a place called Knox in the town. I think it was supposed to be shut at night, but the club must have phoned up like, get it open for the boys. All the fans and that was amazing, honestly. I was going to the toilets, man. And my sister's felt like watching this. Honestly, on my dad's grave, guys come up to me saying, oh, you come here with me, Matt, have my wife and all that. I was a youngster, man. I was like, you're lucky I've got a missus that I've been up there to take you up with that offer. Honestly, God, that was about 3 guys in the toilets, and man heard it, they were all saying it. Oh, yeah, boys, all young. There's a few young single lads like, you serious, mate? I'll go up. I couldn't believe it. That's what it meant to people, but know what I mean?
Going back for wee tag teams and all that.
It's like you're 16 again, like, here we go.
That's class, especially with the assistant gaffer, do you know what I mean? That's setting the tone. But see, that's what football's all about, isn't it? You've got to enjoy the highs when they come in that as well. So you still got your winners medal and that?
I gave that to my granda. So my granda's the one that grew up. Obviously my dad and mum separated when I was young, and so my granda took me everywhere. Obviously he's a big part of my life, so I gave him my medal once I won that because that was for him. So
superb, something that he'll cherish and that, I know, I'd imagine. Proud of his grandson. So what about for there then? You went to Dundee?
I went to Dundee because
how'd that move come about?
I played with Paul Hartley at Aberdeen, and I went and had a short loan spell at Alloa when he was there also, and they also liked me, so he took me to Dundee, and that's my career kind of probably plummeted for there. Not because of Dundee, I got injuries, and ever since I just couldn't go that route for years, just injured there for Dundee. So kind of my whole time at Dundee was frustrating, to be honest.
How's that mentally for you when you start suffering injuries and all that, and take it? People always think football is this glamorous lifestyle and all that, and it can be, do you know what I mean, when things are going well for you, but when things are going badly, mate, how is it? How is it mentally?
That was horrible. That was probably darkest moments of my life. I got depressed as hell. No, I mean, probably my family know this. I've never come out with this, but at Dundee was horrible. Like, fans abusing me every day on Twitter and that, your wage fee, which I totally get, nothing to do with that. But just the fact, I had to travel. I was travelling up there Monday, Tuesday, half a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in a game, and I was injured the whole time. So I'm travelling up 6 in the morning, I'm getting up 5:30 to go up to Dundee for 9 o'clock, whatever. I was injured the whole time, just getting treatment. I think myself, what am I doing? So see, even at tea time, I think myself depressed as hell. I've got to go to Dundee again for treatment. And it was horrible. But obviously your family see this, but nobody else, know what I mean? You don't want to be injured, that's all I know in his football. Then ever since that, I just kind of plummeted. But Dundee was dark days, know what I mean? And it's not to do with club with that, good club, good with me. But I was just injured, and sadly footballers get injured, and I just couldn't get that rut.
So were you staying back in Greenock at this time when you were playing with him?
Aye, because I stayed with my sister, but I drove up with Gary Hartons to Glasgow. Then there was a car school there too, but it's a very lot of travelling. Know what I mean? You're up there nearly every day.
It's a lonely journey, innit? Especially when you're injured, and to imagine. I know what the dressing rooms are like and all, but a lower level scale for what you've played at, but it's hard to get involved in the banter and stuff like that a wee bit in it when you're no playing and you're no in the squad and stuff like that. It's quite, can imagine, quite lonely.
That's what I felt big time, that I couldn't get involved in none, and if I did, I was like, what am I doing? I'm like, I shouldn't be doing that, whereas I should have. But when you feel that way, you're down, you're depressed, you don't even want to be about the boys. And I think some people end up coming talking to me saying, are you alright? I just listen, I'm struggling a bit, but I'll be alright, you know what I mean? Just a few months and I'll be back myself. But it's so bad, see, when they're out training, all that, I'm sitting in there doing my rehab work in the gym myself, and then changing myself, sitting for hours, just thinking, what am I doing? Is this what I want to do? You know what I mean?
It's unfortunately one of the hardest parts of the game, innit, man, is dealing with injuries and setbacks like that. And it must be challenging, especially as you're saying, social media is mad, innit, now, for people.
People just say what they want. You know what I mean? They don't think about it. Then if you actually thought, like, he's in the struggle and all that too, but it is what it is. If you're on social media, there's a chance you take that risk in it. But people, as you see it all the time, people just being massless accounts,
mate, but
just abusing people.
I think people see for things like this, man. You're just a normal down to earth guy. You know what I mean? So it's like anything, man. You don't want to have to be subjected to getting it stinking. You know what I mean? So for Dundee then, and a football kind of why then it didn't really quite work out. Was there high moments there for you when you were playing, or was it you get yourself back fit? Did you back in the team and stuff like that?
When I got back fit, I was in a team, to be fair. Then I think my first game after, because I got injured in pre-season, I started really pre-season really well actually. You know, fans were buzzing off me. I only played a few games, to be fair. Messaged me that, oh, brilliant. I was like, cheers, whatever. Then started the season, played Rafe actually before the last pre-season game. We played Rafe away, and that's when I done my Achilles, and but couldn't find the injury for ages. Numerous scans and all that, and I kept going back. I was playing mistakes and all that in my boot, trying to help, because Paul Hartley said he'd done it before and it helped.
Honestly?
Honestly, stakes. And everybody's like, what the hell? But I thought Gaffer's taking the piss out of us. He's like, I done it at Hearts, Nicky. And I saw I had the white boots. They were all bloody, and I know what I mean.
So what did you just go? Somebody just go down to Morrison's and buy a fillet steak? Was it a fillet steak, or was it a wee money? Was it a cheap one?
Wee money, a cheap one. I was a wee pack of two, and I was honestly wrapping around my foot and strapping up. No, people don't see us about football, but that's what Paul Hartley said. He's like, a top physio he had at Hearts worked with, said that had work, but obviously it didn't work for me because we didn't know my problem. So I ended up finding out it was my Achilles. I had to get bone. It grew, so I couldn't even walk or kick the ball right at Dundee. I had to get it shaved off. Then when I came back, my groin went, and that was my groin for years. You know what I mean? So people don't see that, but when I got back fit, I started against St Johnstone. Was it at home? My first home game, we beat them 2-1. I set up two assists for Kane Hemmings scored one, and Big Chazza, James McPake scored. Right. And all the fans buzzing off me again. Then after that, I think, in fact, last 5 minutes, my groin went when I went to take a corner. And that was me. After that, I was getting abused again, you know what I mean? So football is highs and lows, you know what I mean? You know yourself.
You mate, no.
That was it. It was just frustrating. My whole time at Dundee was really frustrating, to be honest. And as a club, it was a good club. They were good to me, but I just couldn't get fit.
I can't get you a steak in your boot, mate. I'm not that to what would you...
Honestly, I couldn't believe it either. Honestly, I was going up so Hartley's like to me, we'll get you a steak. And I honestly still thought I was taking the piss. I went up to Dundee with the boys, my wee boot place. There you go. A steak sitting in my place ready for me. I was like, I'm starving, geezer.
Game's finished, man. Things cooked. The amount of running So after Dundee then, where was it for you? The next after that?
I went on loan to Derry City when I started on the contract at Dundee, because obviously I couldn't get fit. When I get back fit, they'd sign new players and all that, and just I just needed a fresh challenge, to be honest. So me and Paul Hartley just said it'd be good. Can I get something else? But at this time, I was like, I didn't want to play in Scotland. See, I was depressed and all that at the time. I was still pure struggling, to be honest. My agent's like, I know Kenny Shields because he's got a few players down to colour with him, and he was at Derry City in Ireland at the time. So I went over there, and I loved it over there.
So that was your decision then? You wanted just a wee fresh challenge, something completely different.
Yeah.
And how did it work out then at Derry then? It was good.
Aye, well, thankfully, I'm loved over there. They all still messed me that when I coming back. I did really well over there. My groin was still kind of gubbed over there at the time, so sometimes I couldn't always train during the week. I'd train once or twice, playing on Friday night, because summer football over there, so it's all Friday night games under the lights. Then before I came back, my groin had kind of went again. I got an injection in it. So I was over there about 2 years. But then I got back fit and I came over and signed with Queen South. But Derry was amazing.
So see like in your Derry, I mind I spoke to Ryan McStay, but he played in Ireland and that, but he was saying is, did they only, were they training full time Derry, or were you travelling there, or did you stay there? How did it work with that?
They were full time. I think now, but when I was over there, mostly apart from 1 or 2 teams, everybody was full time. I'm sure in the league at that time. So I stayed over there. They put me up there at the start until I see what I liked to have, and almost stayed with 3 or 4 boys. Then when I said to the club, listen, I'm enjoying it, I'm going to stay. I went to Mrs. over. They put me up, paid for a flat for me. So
they paid for it.
They paid for it, and aye, so I couldn't complain. Looked after me. Good club.
Aye. How was it then with staying in the boys in Ireland and all that through the week and that? A bit of madness came down?
Some Irish, you know what they're like, like a bevy in that team. My wee house was alright. They were all kind of athletes, looked right after themselves. But obviously, in a few boys, I'm mates with Derry fans now, because I used to go out myself, a few pints. If they didn't want to go out, I was like, a few pints. And Derry fans come up to me. They're all Celtic fans in that stage, so I'm still pals with them now. They're just a friendly bunch, like us over there. Easy going, you can go, same as yourself. You can just go talking to people in it, and you're like, he's brand new. So
100%. Sometimes I think that's what fans like, innit? Somebody relatable, man. Somebody that's kind of down to earth and that. And I always feel as if people respond well to that. So where did it take you after Derry then?
I came back for Derry. Obviously, that was summer football, so I came over. We finished October season. So I came over here about December, was it? November, and ended up after training with Morton for a bit just to keep fit. At this point, I'd planned to go back to Derry, but then it was bad snowing that year when I came back. I can't remember what year it was, and my house collapsed. All I had was beams, made my walls, and the bus piped my house. When I was away in Derry, actually, I was just coming back. Sorry, yes, happened just coming back. So my neighbour phoned me, Eddie, my neighbour. Me and my slap, which made my house collapsed. I had just beams to keep it a start, my roof, everything. I lost all my couches, and I didn't have context insurance, so it fucking cost me a fortune. So that's how I didn't go back to Derry. Actually, I stayed here in the missus, then went to Morton to keep fit, and actually done well. Actually, Michael Tidgeon, that was there, and I'm playing with Kelty away. Jonathan Jansen was the manager. They offered me a deal, but the money at that time I couldn't survive if I signed that money. So Gaz Naismith, I'd played at Aberdeen with also, he texted me saying, "Wee man, I heard you're home for Ireland, what's your plans?" I was like, well, I've not really got any now, my house is collapsed. I was like, I'm going to need to stay here now. He's like, do you want to come up? They trained at Hamilton Palace. He's like, you want to come up, see if you like us, see if you like your training and that. I was like, come up, see, get a bash. Trained. He's like, come up for a few days, I'll see if you're fit today, and we can maybe sort something for January. I went up one day and that was it. He's like, how'd you like it? I was like, enjoyed it. He's like, right, I'll sign you. Give you yes. What do you want? I was like, I want that. He's like, I'll get you that, and that was it. Sign like that.
Good, mate.
And that was an man. Started brilliant. Me and Kai Jake was in Midley Park, doing really well. I think I could be wrong, I think we won 7 out of 8 games, or 8 out of 8, first 8 games. And all the Queen of South fans buzzing off me. I was thinking, right, that's me actually getting back to a level when that's where I should be. I was doing really well in the championship. Then fucking my groin went again. So I missed the last 10 to 12 games a season. And we're, I think, 4th or 5th. Not because I was playing, but we were there. Then when I got injured, we kind of plummered and ended up with relegation playoff. Actually, Gaz Naismith ended up getting sacked and Alan Johnson came in. So after that, I was actually thinking, I'd chucked it. In my head, that was retirement. I'd said to...
What age were you then a bit?
That was when I was at Queen of South, 3-4 years ago, probably like 26, I think. Could be wrong, 27. I think about that. And my head was going to see that way, like, because in the past, if I'd done injuries for years, I was like, this is going to leave me. So I had in my head, I'd retired. I said to my sister, I'm just going to need to go for a qualification somewhere, and that's it. A job outside football for the first time. Obviously, that was daunting for me. You know what I mean? I've done qualifications. I'm not the smartest. I've finished school early. I was like, I'm going to be a footballer. So I had that in my head all the time.
Yeah.
But obviously, I never thought injuries not at that time. So that was daunting. Then I ended up, I was like, that's me, chucked it. So I left Queens and didn't even speak to any teams or nothing. I was like, I didn't nothing to do with football. Then Mark Muller, you know Mark Muller? he's now at Kilwinning
Aye,
February
aye,
Mark
aye.
East Stirling end, but he's a Gibby boy when I'm fae in Greenock. So he's like East Stirling's thing, getting a wee decent team together and that. There's a few bob getting spent. He's like, would you go part time? I was like, well, I've been full time. I was maybe get a bash, see how his groin is. So I spoke to Andy Rogers, who's assistant manager at East Stirling, and I spoke to Derek Urey, who's still a gaffer, top guy. He's like, listen, I've had his pubis no that in the groin, and he's like, me, I've had that Nick. He's like, listen, if you only need to play a Saturday until we get it stronger, strengthened up, don't need to train at all. But thankfully, I went part time, and ever since, touch wood, I've been brand new injuries, so it just pure suited my body and no problems. So
Yeah.
it worked wonders for me.
It's mad, innit? Because probably, as you say, that's the biggest fear for a lot of people. You think football, I'd imagine at the start of your career, you think, oh, I'm going to do this forever. And then you're just getting the unfortunate with injury and all that. But mad how that is, but it's the demands on the body, innit? Probably the demands.
You think on it, you've been full time for 15, you know what I mean? You're training every single day, you know what I mean? It's a lot on your body, you know what I mean? Do a lot of gym work also when you go full time and all, so it's not just the fact you're playing football on a Saturday. People forget all the training that comes along with it, you know what I mean? Some bodies are built for it, some bodies aren't, and mine's clearly wasn't at that time.
And I take it, without being big-headed in that, and when you went down to play for East Stirling, that you started to find it easier again. Then I take it, but you'd have been bossing the games, I
think everybody says that. Like, I think but I never treated it like, oh, what am I doing here? Know what I mean? I treat every game like the way you should, because I think myself, if I go down here, if I think I'm Billy Big Boss, see if I get battered against an centre mid, I'm playing against him, but who the hell is he? Know what I mean? He's pish. So I always went out to make sure that I get better than my opponent, and then after that, hopefully the team would win. And that's what kind of thankfully I did. I think every manager I spoke to, they always praised me for my attitude and that, not being big time when I was down there. Know what I mean? But it only was a good league. Top half especially. Some teams down the bottom weren't so great, but that's like every league, know what I mean? But some of the teams were good, but I went down there and I really liked it. East Stirling were brilliant as a club, so I still go up to the games and that when I can.
Started chipping in with the goals when you were at East Stirling and all, didn't you?
That's it, because I started centre mid, kind of 4-2-3-1 we played, and I was sitting just kind of spraying the ball a bit, but then I thought we were scoring a few. I was thinking to myself, I want to get involved in the goals here. So I've just kind of said to Reece Pegg and that, you sit and let me kind of charge on, create and score. And once I scored a few, I thought, I like this. So I ended up, Dell kind of put me further forward, and at times I played number 10, because he's like, you open defences up for us, because teams kind of sat in against us at times, because we were a decent outfit. So I went in there, and I think my first season I scored, was it 16 and 14 assists, or 14 goals and 16 assists, which wasn't like me, but I was playing the forward areas, so even any level, if I think I'm playing the forward areas, I think I can score.
And is that, it's Faye still in it? You got to move to Arbroath, and that came for the back of that. How did that one come about? Because it's a wee bit mad when you're at East Stirling, and then the opportunity coming to go to Arbroath.
It was because the COVID loan league was stopped at the time, and I was actually never worked in my life, but I was doing during lockdown, because none was open or that. My mate owned a Mexican place, so he's like, mate, you want a job? I was like, job doing what? He's like, deliveries. I was like, aye. I was like, get a bash, and it was brilliant, mobbed. So nobody could get, no, I mean, people were just eating all the time, so money was brilliant. So I was in his, I was waiting, he was making food, and I was waiting to take a few deliveries out. Phone goes, not got his number. Yeah, we cunt you. It's a gaffer. And
Is that how he referred to himself?
That's the way he talks. So I knew as soon as it was him, I was like, fucking Dick Campbell, man.
Because you'd played for him previously.
I was like 4th, so he's like, yeah, we cunt you, it's a gaffer. And that voice he does. So I was like, gaffer, how are we? What's been happening? That he's like, listen, we're struggling. We've got a few injuries. We're fighting relegation. He's like, I need you to come and bail me out. He's used to be a squad player. He's like, you've not played in 3 months. You probably not play much. Right. I was like, that's no bother. Just to be back in the football environment and back in a bit of boys changing room and all that, the banter. I was like, fucking right, I've done none for months. So I signed the contract and that. It was like a Friday it went through. So I didn't have a chance to train with the boys. First journey, I was away, Inverness away. I was like, Gaffer, can I always come Tuesday? He's like, get yourself up here. So we're up there, we're getting beat 1-0. He's like, me, on you go. 10, 12 minutes to go. I run a bit in, and I did well when I went on. So then he put me after the game. He's like, fuck's sake, you're better than what I thought you were. He's like, you were shite when you were younger. That's what he said to me. You know what I mean? So then I trained that Monday, Wednesday. They trained up at Arbroath. So trained Monday, Wednesday. and I felt really good. But I'd been doing hundreds of running, obviously, I've seen, because that's all I could do. There was nothing else open. I couldn't even get it out.
Posting the 10Ks on Strava
you know what I mean?
everybody else was doing.
I was one of them. I'm not a runner. Everyone knows me knows I'm a runner, but I ended up getting decent shape then. So I was ticking over, thankfully. Then trained Monday, Wednesday, and I must have did really well because the biggest game of the season, I were bottom and they were second bottom at the time, I'm sure, and there was none between them. And he's like, I'm starting you. I was like, what? I thought I wasn't going to play much. He's like, I'm fucking starting you. He's like, you've looked well to me. He's like, if you're fucked after 50, 60 minutes, so hook you. I was like, not a problem. So obviously I knew it's how big for the club. They want to stay in the championship. That's their aim.
Yeah.
So I was like, I better go and do well here. Thankfully in the game, I think did I set up a winning goal. Set up Jack Hamilton with a reverse pass, and he went and scored. And then I played every game. I
think for me, just outside that, you being a boy for the scheme probably is why Dick gets got a lot out of you. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that the type of character he seems to be, and I can't say I know him personally, but for me, outside, and that's how he probably gets the best out. Because I'd imagine he's the exact same way that he comes across in the interviews and all that. Is that the way it is?
As he kind of changed, that's just the way he is, you know what I mean? And he likes characters, same as Pink and all that, because they're always talking about personalities. And like, you'd put me to sleep and all that, you know what I mean? So I like people that's out there and that answer kind of back and have a wee laugh with him. And I think I'm one of them, you know what I mean? So
what do you think? Because obviously then Arbroath had, what a season Arbroath had last year. Unfortunately lost out in the playoffs. But how do you think that he got so much out of you when you were basically part-time and you were all up against the full-time sides throughout the season?
Just the way I think we train and play, I think it was always kind of calm. It was never like, people would imagine Dick going mental. It's never like that. See if you could beat a game in that. And boys don't like that. See, this day and age, I know lots of people listen to boys in the changing room, they don't like getting shouted with that. I think back to the days we said the old school used to do that, but even a guy for us met an old school manager, but it didn't really go mad at that. Or does Pink, his assistant, or Big Grab, goalie coach. But when we come to him, they know his squad he's put together. That's what's done it for him. He's obviously done his background, I think, on players when they were signing them, because it's all good guys, not one bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to change rooms, you know yourself, you've been there, it's cliques, so there's a few bad eggs. Every one of the guys were brilliant. It's the best changing room I've been in. And that's how we got so far, I think, is how he signed, because his changing room was brilliant. And there's also good players in amongst that.
You need to have good players too, definitely, Nicky. I think it does say a lot that a good dressing room's worth its weight in gold points wise, isn't it? And
that's certainly what happened to us last year. I mean, there was times we got battered in games where we ended up winning 2-0, 2-1, but we got battered, and it was just the fact that it's a good bunch of boys who wanted to hang in, work their arse off, then we'd go and counter-attack teams, you know what I mean? Plenty of teams, players did walk off saying to me or other players, how the hell did you beat us here? And we were saying we know, you know what I mean? So you need to ride your luck as well, but obviously the team spirit got us a lot of points last year.
And then you've went on to Kelty and that, but you've went on loan now to Kelty, and I think that a few things were said social media wise. I think we moving on for Arbroath, but we all know that these things happen in football, and I know that we're speaking to you wasn't an easy decision for you. How are you finding it at Kelty since you've been in there?
I'm enjoying it so far. Obviously, I'm only in the door. Obviously, Saturday wasn't an ideal start. We get beat, but I'm enjoying it. Training's been really good, high tempo, really tough. So I'm enjoying it, and I just need to get my head down and work hard. And we're obviously down towards the bottom of the league now. But you look at the squad at Kelty they've got. There's a lot of players that's played higher up. So there's probably something missing in now, or we just need that wee 1 or 2 wins in a row to kickstart us and hopefully get that confidence. Kelty is a club I've been used to winning the last couple of years, and obviously they're a lot tougher league now. League One's a very tough league, so hopefully the next few weeks you'll see us, we play Annan tomorrow night, and then after that hopefully we'll kick on, because there's a right good bunch of boys there.
That's it, mate. It's a club that's for on the outside. It's a club that looks as if it's gone places. You know what I mean? And they're investing in their squad. So, what about the players you've played with, Nicky? You know what I mean? I know the people out there always like to know, what about your best players you've played with or against? What's that for you?
Played with.
I guarantee you'll say Brownie, man. First, you played against, didn't I?
No. I played against Man U and Villarreal and that.
Oh, did you?
Aye. So I played against a few players. Aberdeen. We played Man U in a testimonial for Neil Simpson.
Right.
Then we played against Villarreal for Darren Mackey's testimonial. I'm sure Marcos Senna played member of centre mid for Villarreal player, but the best I played against Santi Cazorla.
Was he at Villarreal at the time?
He played at a game, aye. And I'm sure it was him.
I'm
sure I told a story before, but I'm sure he megged me, and I was having into get the ball, but I went in hard and I've kicked him, but his feet were just too fast through my legs. So you're mad Spanish, blah, blah, blah. You know all this to me. I'm like, I didn't mean it. I just went to get a fucking ball. You know what I mean? He's just too quick. But he was a joke. And his striker, I can't remember, was it Vela? Was it Man U? No. Is that his name?
Carlos Vela.
I'm sure he played. I think he scored. I think they beat us 1-0. I think it was him who scored, actually, a belter. I'm sure it was him, was it? We striker anyway, looks something like him. Right. And he was up front. So if the team was a joke, know what I mean?
Scary, man. My best mate, Grimmy, he's a big Celtic fan, and he always still says to this day that Marco Senna is one of the best players he's seen play at Parkhead live. Know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's maybe changed now that they've played Real Madrid, but said he was unbelievable. And what about players you've played with? Who's the top kiddies for you?
I've probably changed. I've been asked this a few times. I've probably changed my mind a few times, but going for training a day-to-day basis and stuff, because I don't think I actually played with him. Like, I was training with him, but I don't think I shared a pitch with him. Sean Aluko, before he went to Rangers, he came from Birmingham City, and he was there for a few years before he went to Rangers. In training, his feet were a joke. Short, sharp. It was just so quick. Mm-hmm. And he took a piss in training, so I'd probably say Shawnee. But with players that I played with, I've got to say probably Niall McGinn. He was a joke to him when he was at it.
Aye.
He couldn't get near him, because some players obviously played off the left. Well, played striker, Craig Brown's the manager, then McInnes come in, put him wide left. But he's one of the ones that can go inside and outside. So Peter Black showed him on his inside on his right, or if he showed him outside on his left, know what I mean? It could go both ways. Mm-hmm. So Niall McGinn definitely be one of them too. Top
players you've played with. What about characters wise? Who's the big? Well, obviously you've played for Dick Campbell and that, but what about players wise? Who's the big characters, or who did you hit it halfway in a dressing room and were up to no good? Because I'd imagine you wouldn't have took much persuading to be about a wee bit of daftness in the dressing room.
Been there plenty of times, a few bits of madness, but big Derek Suter, a goalie.
Right.
He was a madman. He was always mucking about when I was a young boy, came through youth. Hoses and that out, all that. Big Charlie Mulgrew. I think one day, see, after last day of the season, we'd obviously knock off for summer. Big Charlie, I was sure it was Big Charlie. We got orange and black diluting juice in fucking canteen. He's in with bottles of wine, both of them. So everybody end up in the end, people knew it was wine, but everybody's just drinking it. People just pissing on it at work last day. Aye, Big Charlie fishing on it in it. People were getting a drink with fishing on it.
Oh, you know what I mean? Mate. See the things they put in water bottles. I'm not going to lie. I played with a team, and I'm not saying anything else, but a boy, we were playing a pre-season friendly, and I'm not kidding you on. The boys in this team will know. We were playing a pre-season friendly, and the boy stuck an Eckie, mate, and I laughed. And I'm not kidding you on, mate.
I bet your boy was buzzing it.
I'm telling you, mate, not one person touched the water bottles once from you, mate. So, crazy, mate, the stuff they go into. And you know that we're a pod that does concentrates more on the West, and I know that you follow the West in that as well, and seen you at games in that as well. So, who's your team in the West? I know who you're going to probably say because you're pals with Big Tommy and that, but I know you follow it. What do you think of the West of Scotland League and that?
I think it's a really good league, and I think they should be more get into the Lone League in the next couple of years, because I obviously played in the Lone League and watched in the West of Scotland League. There's top teams there, you know what I mean? Obviously, you pull out yourselves, good teams, Clydebanks, your Talbots, your Darvals, and all that, Kilwinning, Irvine Meadows. It's a good league, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think it'll only be a few and be scared because the ambitions of West of Scotland clubs.
Aye, no, definitely.
No, but it's a thing, good following, good fan base and all that, know what I mean? Because the Lone League, that's what I struggled. There was nobody there. Any fans, hardly any teams had fans. Whereas when I go with Tommy and that and watch games where I see yourselves and that, there's always fans there. So I think myself, if I'm going to play anywhere when I'm a bit older or whatever, this is where I kind of want to play now, because I want to play where there's a fan base still, because it's tough getting yourself motivated seeing you're going to play someday, especially when you're still in, when we had a decent team and you're going to play some shit teams, to be honest. There's nobody there. So you end up thinking myself, we're going scuddies, so I'm just walking about, you know what I mean? There are times I was just walking about.
100%. I think when you play the game in it, you want to play in front of fans, you want to play in big games and all that, and also definitely for players, don't get me wrong, it was always easy for me to motivate myself, because I always played for the clubs with no fans. I was at the Rock for so long, man, and as soon as I left the Rock, they started the following went through the roof, mate. It's unbelievable.
That tells you something, innit?
It does, mate, it does. Once they started getting a good goalie and a good teammate, then they started fans coming in. But what about the future, Nicky, then? What's the future hold for you then? You just obviously stay clear injuries, but anything any thoughts on the future? Do you fancy management? You fancy coaching, stuff like that?
Well, it's funny you say that because I'm about James Dock. I don't know if you know James, what the SFA know.
He's just started his own
business.
I've seen that on.
He's doing the coaching now, the Football Factory. So if anybody's watching, give him a follow on that.
See, they're a plug there. I've not even spoken about our sponsors today, man. And there's Nicky flinging. But we're happy with that because James does watch your show, So
yeah, you watch
good on him.
Today. So I'm going to go into that with him.
Good.
And I start on the 14th of October. Is my first night. It's a Friday night. That's when I'm getting into it. But we're going to open a few development centres. Well, James is, and I'm going to coach for him. So I'm absolutely buzzing because it's always something. As Derek McInnes not Aberdeen always said, it's something I want to do or I'll go into, and that's the way I see myself going. I see myself definitely staying in the game, whether it's coaching kids or a higher level. But I'm very passionate about football, so I want to definitely go and coach. So I'm delighted James gave me an opportunity, and I think we'll do really well in Inverclyde.
Aye, definitely, mate. And I think as well, you've got that factor where you're playing the game, you've played senior football, you're still in the professional game and stuff like that. So I think your knowledge and what you can pass on to these kids will be invaluable, mate. So that's brilliant. That's brilliant to hear, mate. So I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up. Nicky boys get training this evening, and I need to get the wee one for nursery. But no, I just want to thank Nicky for his time, and also Paul this week for getting us into the studio, since PG honestly booked this right for 3 o'clock because he's in New York, man. It's the 5. It took in the time delay in, so he's really booked it for 8 o'clock. Me and Nicky are standing outside at 3 o'clock trying to get in.
PJ, if I've got a ticket in my motor, you're paying for it.
Honestly, I know,
defo.
my motor. My poor Wayne's the only one left in the nursery and all that. And that's Scudbook spending all the sponsorship money in New York. I hope you're enjoying yourself, all right? I hope you're enjoying yourself. But again, Nicky, I want to wish you all the best for the rest of the season. You're a top guy, mate, and that's basically it, mate. You're a top guy, and we hope that you stay fit and you keep strutting your stuff, mate, and never know what the future holds. We know what football's like, mate. Could be other things in the horizon, my man.
That's it.
But I know that this,
you never
Nicky,
know.
I know this is one of probably the highlight of Nicky's career.
That's it. I've seen the show plenty of times. I've never been on it. I was raging. I've never been invited, but here we go. That's me, my big moment.
Too good an opportunity to miss. So thanks again, Nicky, mate, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Top man, that. Cheers for having us, pal.
Take care, troops, all right?